Y'all see Dean in there?
He walked out.
We're gonna get them anyway.
I'll go find
You
him.
can get them in? Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
TJ, I'm sorry, what?
He's there.
That's the part.
Oh. Clock in here is different than the one in the other room.
Yeah, that's why that one's about 3 or 4 minutes. It's slow.
We can come in here and start the meeting and go into executive session, and they still have.
I know it. But if we say 7 o'clock, we need to start at 7 o'clock.
No, that's all around.
Nah.
You were in charge of the meeting, I wasn't.
Yep. It's true.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
A little late tonight. We ran a little long in workshop session. We apologize for that. We should have started at 7. It is after 7 o'clock. We do have a quorum present. Where is? Yeah, we're all here. Okay. So we'll call the city council meeting to order. First items on the agenda is the invocation given by myself, and then the pledge to American and Texas flags by Councilman Guarina. Most gracious Lord God Almighty, we pause at this time to give you thanks, to give you glory, and to give you honor. We do thank you so much, Almighty God, for always being there for us, for being stalwart and ever faithful. We thank you for watching over us and protecting us and giving us all we need and more. We thank you for loving us each and every day. We ask that you help us here tonight as we make decisions. We ask for your discernment, your wisdom and knowledge that would grant us the ability to make decisions that would be pleasing unto you. And we ask your special protection on those who are suffering, who are grieving, those who are in harm's way, and those who fight each and every day to protect truth, justice, and freedom. We ask all of this in your most heavenly precious name. Amen.
Amen. Would you please join me in the pledges? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
I have a few proclamations and presentations that we want to make tonight. And I'm going to start off with Mr. McCormick. If you'd please come forward, sir. Thank you, Matt. This is Matt McCormick, and he's the president of our Louisville Chamber of Commerce, has been for a number of years now, and I want to tell you he does a tremendous job. He has a great staff, but as with most organizations that do well, he is the leader of that staff, and he does a great job. He's worked tirelessly for a number of years with us now. He makes sure that not only our businesses, but our citizens are well pleased and that we all work together here in the community, make it greater. And I want to personally thank you, Matt, for all that you've done for the several years with our Chamber of Commerce and for this community. So with that, I have this proclamation. It's Community Showcase Proclamation. Whereas more than 600 local chambers of commerce in Texas distinguish themselves as the voice of business in our state, and whereas the work accomplished by those local chambers has benefited our state through their economic development and community development programs, and whereas the local chambers of commerce unceasingly promote their community for quality growth and development, and whereas the business community represented through local chambers of commerce has been a driving force in fostering enhanced educational opportunities, infrastructure, improvements, leadership development, the creation of jobs, and a positive vision of the future. And whereas the Chamber of Commerce Community in Texas has sought to achieve successful results for our state in a cooperative spirit with other organizations, now therefore I, Dean Euchert, Mayor of the City of Louisville, Texas, along with all members of the City Council, do hereby proclaim the week of October 17th to 22nd, 2011 as Chamber of Commerce Week, proclaimed on this 17th day of October. Matt, I want to say thank you very much. Thank you. Get a photo and then we'll get you a safety word. Let you take it.
All right. Which way?
However you want to
All
do it.
right. Well, I want to address a little bit of everybody. First of all, thank you, Mayor, for so much for taking time, and to the council, thank y'all for doing this for us. I've always appreciated in the almost 5 years that I've had the privilege and the blessing to be with the Louisville Chamber, the support that the city has always given the Chamber, whether it be from the council or from everybody sitting on this side of the chambers. We do appreciate it very much. And one of the things that we really appreciate is this city making a concerted effort on a regular basis to make sure that Louisville is a business-friendly community where people and businesses want to thrive, where businesses want to grow, and where businesses want to be. So we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. I thought it'd been a lot more than 4 or 5 years, though. I'll tell you that. As I said, Matt has done a great job for us over the years. And Elizabeth Hanassian. Did I pronounce that correctly? How do you pronounce it? Hennessian. Elizabeth Hennessian. And hi, I'm Dean Euchert, and what is your name?
Bryn.
Brenda? And this is
No,
Brent.
Bryn.
I'm sorry.
Just Bryn. No.
Bryn. I'm sorry, Bryn. I apologize.
okay.
As you get older, you lose some of your hearing. You have to speak up sometimes, too. Remember that to your mom and dad, okay?
I will.
Actually, what I'd like to do is, I'm going to do this proclamation, but then what I'd like to do is let you have some opportunity to offer a few words, what all this is about. And Bryn, if you'd like to say a few words, we'd like to offer you that opportunity. If you don't want to, I certainly understand. Okay, how's that? Whereas the ability to read and process information is a basic survival skill in our global information society, and whereas the reading proficiency of teens has remained stagnant over the last 30 years, and whereas the number of students who can read but choose not to do so is increasing. The most effective way to improve reading skills is to read regularly and often. Whereas too few teens think reading is a valuable tool for enjoyment and relaxation as well as for schoolwork. And regularly daily reading for the fun of it creates the reading habit for life. And whereas parents, teachers, librarians, and all concerned adults can serve as role models by reading for fun themselves. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Dean Euchert, Mayor of Louisville, along with the members of the City Council, do hereby proclaim the week of October 16th through 22nd, 2011 as Teen Read Week in Louisville, Texas. Encourage all teens and residents to read for the fun of it. So let's get a picture here first, and I'll let you see. Now I'll let you tell a little bit about the program and what all you do for us.
All right. I had to write mine down. 'Cause I won't remember. All right. Well, Teen Read Week is an initiative put on by the American Library Association, Young Adult Library Services Association. And it is just a week to promote teen reading and the importance of reading for teens. It definitely drops off once they hit middle school and high school, and just to encourage them to read for the fun of it, not just for school, and the library is a great place to do that. I also have a little something else to say. So, Mayor, City Council members, and City Manager, thank you for your continued support of the library, and more specifically, teen reading. This past summer, we had close to 600 teens participate in our Texas Teen Read at the Louisville Public Library Summer Reading Program. That is close to a 15% increase from the previous summer. In addition to having so many teens participate, we began a teen advisory group, one of which is with me today, Bryn. This group consists of teens that love the library and want to make more people, not just teens, aware of what the library has to offer. We're only in the beginning stages, but already they have organized a flash mob freeze at Western Days and are excitedly working on programs and events for the spring. Once again, thank you for recognizing the importance of the library and promotion of literacy and education.
I tell you, the reading thing for Western Days was so great because it wasn't Waldo you had to find, but you had to find several things. Wasn't there one wasn't a squirrel, what was it? Curious George was there. Curious George, that was who was there. Yeah, that was good. I really enjoyed it. Y'all did a great job with that. That was very good. Thank you very much. Oh, and this is yours. I'm sorry. Okay, next, we took a little break during the summer because school was out. But here we're going to start again recognizing some of our excellent high school students. You know, we are so fortunate to be blessed with such a great high school as Louisville High School. And we want to make certain that whenever they give us the opportunity, we want to make sure we recognize these students and let them know how important they are to our community, how much we appreciate them, and how much we look forward to having them as members of our society and here in this community going forward. So with that, tonight we've got several proclamations we want to give out and awards we want to give out tonight. And we have over here Miss Teresa Wells, and she is the gracious member that makes sure that we give all these young people here so that we can get them the recognition that they so deserve. And we as mayor and council, we don't choose who gets these awards. That's up to the faculty and staff at the high school, and they make that determination, and their peers. So this is something that is very well deserved by these members. We just want to make it out to the public so that they can see how well these students are doing in our high school. So with that, as I call your name, if you'll come forward, and I'll give you your proclamation, and then what we'll do is take a picture, and we'll stay up here, and we'll take a group picture out. Is that okay? Okay. We're going to start with Nancy Nguyen. Here we go. I'm sorry. Come over here a little closer. I won't bite you, I promise. Nancy, I just want to tell you how proud we are of you, how proud I am and our city council and all of our citizens here in Louisville are you, as well as your parents and all your student members there at your high school. We appreciate you greatly for what you do. Louisville hereby recognizes and honors Nancy Nguyen for outstanding achievements as a Louisville Independent School District student in the following events and activities. Member of First Place Regional UIL Accounting Team for 2011, member of First Place District UIL Accounting Team 2011, second place in UIL State Meet for 2 years, and second place for FBLA National Competition in Orlando, Florida. National Merit Scholar semifinalist. This proclamation is issued on the 17th of October 2011. And I would like to ask Tran and Lynn Nguyen, if you're here tonight, if you would be standing recognized, we would like to say congratulations to you also. Okay, next we have Scott Jasper, and he's the son of his proud parents are Timothy and Patricia Jasper. If you're here, if you'll stand, we'd like to recognize you very much also. Trust me, the parents are just as proud as you are, I know. Scott, once again, I want to say thank you on behalf of the Mayor and City Council and all of our citizens for the work you do and the achievement that you've made in this city. We appreciate what you do for our community. Louisville hereby recognizes and honors Scott Jasper for outstanding achievements as a Louisville Independent School District student in the following event and activity. Member of First Place Regional UIL Accounting Team 2011, member of First Place District and UIL Accounting Team 2011, issued on the 17th day of October 2011. Let's give him a big round of applause. Lorena Yaha. And her proud parents are Ishmael and Majida Yaha. Y'all here, we'd like to recognize you all. I apologize for mispronouncing it. I want to say, on behalf of the student council, myself, and the city council, and all the citizens of Louisville, we want to thank you for the accomplishments that you've done and the hard work you've done here in our community. We're very proud of you. Thank you. Louisville hereby recognizes and honors, I'm going to mess this up, I know, Blarina Yaha for outstanding, I'm going to say that right, Blarina Yaha for outstanding achievements as a Louisville Independent School District student in the following event and activity. Member of First Place Regional UIL Accounting Team 2011 and member of First Place District UIL Accounting Team 2011, issued on the 17th day of October 2011. And we have Cindy Nguyen. And once again, her parents, this is her sister here, so her parents are Tran and Lynn Nguyen. They're also here tonight. We want to say thank you very much. I know how proud you are to have both of your daughters here with us tonight. And I want to say thank you again on behalf of myself and all the city council and all of our citizens and all your fellow members there at school for all that you've done and the accomplishments you made, how proud we are of you. Louisville hereby recognizes and honors Cindy Nguyen for outstanding achievements as a Louisville Independent School District student in the following event and activity: member of First Place Regional UIL Accounting Team 2011 and member of First Place District UIL Accounting Team 2011, issued on the 17th day of October 2011. Would you like to say a few words about this group first?
I would like to acknowledge their advisor and teacher, accounting teacher, Ms. Deborah Weldon. If you would come down and have a picture with them, please. She is an awesome UIL accounting coach and teacher. We're so grateful at Louisville High School to have her.
Would you like to say a few words, Ms. Weldon, about your program?
We appreciate the support of the City Council of the City of Louisville, and we appreciate the support of our administration. Two of them are here with us tonight. These kids are a joy to be with. It is a pleasure to spend time with all this enthusiasm, and I appreciate your recognizing that.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Burns, would you like to come down and get your picture taken with them? No? Okay, all right. Come on up here and let's all get a group picture. How's that? Squeeze together like that. Got to hear that. She's feeling like we're in the back seat of the van. I think when they do road trips, they have real uncomfortable van. Thank y'all so much. We're so very a little surprise here.
I would like to call Mr. Brad Burns, our principal at Louisville High School, down to make this presentation with me. A couple of weeks ago, we had our homecoming parade, and we called it the greatest homecoming celebration in Texas. And the city was very supportive of that event. As a matter of fact, they built the best float in the whole parade. So we're very thankful for the Parks and Rec Department for doing that. But one thing that made that parade entry so special to me was the people standing on the float. And so I would like to also recognize Chief Kerbo, Chief Tittle, Ms. Carol Bassinger, and Mr. Eric Ferris, because they are alumnus of Louisville High School, and they rode on the float. And we would like to present the City of Louisville, this Community Business Float Winner plaque, and we hope that your name appears there every single year. And when you want to give a float building session, we would love to attend. You did an awesome job. Community, let's thank our city leaders.
Thank y'all so very much. Thank you. I can tell you right now, while Mr. Burns is the principal of high school, he will assure you that Ms. Wells is one that does that parade. and puts all that stuff together, and she works endless hours, as her husband will attest, on getting this program done. But I'll tell you what, it's one of the neatest things we have in this city is our high school homecoming parade, because it is our high school. And as she mentioned, we have over 60 city employees that are graduates from Louisville High School. So it just goes to show that a lot of times these stay here at home. So we're very proud of it. Thank y'all very much. Okay, next item on the agenda is the Visitor Citizen Forum. At this time, any person with business before the council not scheduled on the agenda may speak to the council. No formal action can be taken on these items at this time. And I don't have any cards filled out for that. Next item is the consent agenda. All the following items on the consent agenda are considered to be self-explanatory by the council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests. For a citizen to request removal of an item, a speaker card must be filled out and submitted to the city secretary. I do not have any cards, did not have any council member asked to have anything pulled. Councilman Gilmore?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Gilmore to approve the consent agenda, second by Councilman Grena. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3 is consideration of a final plat of Mira Vista Edition, a 3.023 acre parcel zoned local commercial with 7 proposed lots located near the northwest quadrant of FM 3040 and Euchre Lane with 2 variances. A, to provide an alternate paving section in lieu of paying an escrow fee for Euchre Lane, and B, to allow grading and tree removal for the entire 3-acre site and allowing tree mitigation on a per-lot basis as the lots are developed as requested by Steve Homeyer, Homeyer Engineering, Incorporated, on behalf of the owner. The owner of the 3.023 acre parcel is proposing to divide the property into 7 lots for small office development. An engineering site plan has been submitted for all 7 lots. The property has frontage on both FM 3040 and Euchre Lane. However, the main frontage and access is from Euchre Lane. The owner's engineer has applied for 2 variances to the General Development Ordinance. A, Section 6-92B, streets, to allow for providing alternative paving improvements in lieu of the standard concrete curb and gutter pavement along the frontage of the property, or providing escrow money. B, Section 6-121, landscaping requirements, to allow grading and clearing of the entire 3-acre strip up front and allow tree mitigation on a per-lot basis as buildings permits are issued. The Planning and Zoning Commission's recommended approval of the plat and variance A at their October 4, 2011 meeting at a 5-0 vote. The Planning and Zoning Commission did not consider variance B as it is site plan related and not related to the plat. The recommendation of staff is that the City Council approve the final plat of Mira Vista Edition and variance A and deny variance B as set forth in the above caption. Mr. Solomon, do you want to give a presentation, or did you want to give a presentation on this, Mr. King?
David can do it.
David, do you want to give us a presentation on this, sir? Kind of explains staff's position on the recommendation to deny.
As indicated, we're looking at the final plat of the Mira Vista Edition, which is a roughly 3-acre parcel located.
David, I'm sorry, would you pull that microphone around? I had it.
Yeah. Again, we're looking at the final plat of Mira Vista Edition, which is roughly a 3-acre parcel located at the northwest quadrant of Euchre Lane and 3040. You can see the location of the property as highlighted on the location map. The owner is currently final platting the property and has also submitted a site plan for the entire 3-acre parcel. The proposal is to divide the property into 7 lots, each for a small individual office building. I've just placed a copy of the plat on the overhead showing the 7 lots. Euchre Lane is on the eastern portion of the property, and the lots are served by an access easement off of Euchre Lane. So all access to the 7 lots will be from Euchre Lane. As mentioned, there are 2 variances associated with this particular development. The first variance is plat-related. It has to do with the paving improvements that would normally be required by our general development ordinance for Euchre Lane, which is a substandard asphalt street without curb and gutter or drainage. For reference, I've got a couple of photos in the backup that indicate the existing condition of Euchre Lane. As you can tell, it's not in very good condition. It's got several patches, and the pavement is cracked and broken on the edges. And it's pretty much in this condition all the way up from the site all the way to the south to 3040. For the first variance regarding the pavement, the general development ordinance provides 2 separate options. The first option is to simply pave 1/2 of the road across the frontage of the property with a concrete street section, which would include curb and gutter and any associated drainage with that section of street, which would basically be from about this point where I'm pointing on the drawing up to about this point on the drawing. Roughly 207 feet. The second option is to take the money that it would cost to put that paving on the ground, which in this case is in the neighborhood of $56,000, and put it in a city escrow account so that when the road is improved sometime in the future, that money could be used at that point in time. What the owner and the owner's engineer has proposed is to make improvements to the road all the way from Highway 3040 all the way to the northern end of the site, but it would be somewhat of a lesser section than what the permanent section would be. There's a couple of reasons for this particular scenario. First of all, the sanitary sewer in Euchre Lane is going to be replaced so that the development will be able to have sewer via a gravity sewer and won't have to have a lift station. So in the process of relaying that sanitary sewer, staff was concerned that the road, with the condition that it's currently in, would be completely torn up, and then it would just be patched again as a repair instead of being totally repaired. So we came up or worked with the developer to come up with a scenario that we felt would address all the construction traffic and the possible road damage that would occur due to the construction of the sanitary sewer and construction of the development itself. And also provide a better access to the development all the way from Highway 3040. What's being proposed is a 4-inch asphalt section with an improved concrete treated subgrade. And the cost of what's being proposed is roughly the same as the $56,000 that would have been put in place otherwise. You know, cost might be a few $1,000s different, but for the most part, the developer is putting the same amount of money into the street as they would have if they would have simply followed the general development ordinance. Staff has recommended approval of this particular variance because we feel that this is a much better scenario than paving just 200 feet in the middle of the block. And it's better than taking $56,000 and placing it in an escrow account for an unspecified amount of time, given the existing conditions of the road and the possibility of that road having to be patched and repaired because of the utility construction.
Okay, that's variance A, correct? That you just
I'm
went-
sorry?
That's variance A that you.
Variance A.
Before we go to variance B, if you would, let me see if council has any questions on that for you. Does council have any questions on this portion of the variance?
None from me, Mayor.
No, Mayor. I had one question.
Go ahead.
On the put it in of the new, or replacing the sewer line that you mentioned to have gravity flow, is that going to be done before the paving is put in?
Yes, it'll be done up front. In fact, it'll probably be one of the first things that they do once they start construction, and it'll be before the pavement occurs.
Okay, thank you.
One question for me is, and I was listening for it, but I'm not sure if you said it. What's the life expectancy of this road comparatively from what we're doing the variance from? I mean, are we looking at a road that's not going to last near as long, or half as long, or twice as long, or cheaper materials? What are we looking at?
Well, it's certainly a lighter duty pavement. You know, currently, there's not a lot of traffic on this road.
Currently.
You know, as property develops, depending on what it develops as, there's always the possibility that this section wouldn't last as long as it might otherwise if it were simply residential or if it stayed undeveloped. It's hard to say because it is all mostly undeveloped property and large acre parcels on Euchre Lane. You know, I mean, it could be, if it's office development, you know, that's one thing. If somebody wanted to put something that was more industrial or retail oriented, that might generate more traffic and the road wouldn't last as long. It's really hard to tell because there's so much uncertainty with what's going to happen on Euchre Lane. But in general, this section will not last as long as it would if it were a permanent concrete section.
I understand what you're saying, but I mean, relatively speaking, let's say it's heavy traffic. How is it going to? Is it like, is 80% as good? Here's the thing: in that area there, it's either going to be residential or light retail. I mean, I'm hoping it's not going to be heavy industrial in that midst of that neighborhood area over there. But I'm just wondering if we're going to be giving up something now, and we're going to be spending a lot more money on repairs and stuff later.
This particular section most likely would not hold up very long if there was a significant amount of truck traffic.
Okay.
If the majority of the traffic is passenger vehicles, there's no reason why this street section would not last for 10, 15, or 20 years, depending on the volume.
Okay. Well, okay. I'm good with it then. Thank you for that answer. I appreciate that.
I have a question, please. So basically, if this developer, builder, is going to put in a sewer and water line, then he would patch the roadway as it currently existed if we ask that the difference in what he is spending now and what the code requires as far as gutter, sewer, and wastewater or whatever, curb and gutter. And we ask that that difference be put into an escrow account.
In this,
Instead of paving the whole roadway width, which I understand is 20 feet wide or whatever that may be, we could expect him just to patch where he put in his infrastructure, and we would have the same roadway basically, but we would have X amount of dollars in escrow when this future development occurred.
correct. With the general development ordinance, you either get a half of a street section right in front of the development, which would be a permanent pavement section, or in this particular case, what would most likely happen is the city would collect roughly $56,000 for future street improvements. The developer would go out, relay the sewer line, make all their water taps, et cetera, add their drainage, and then they would simply put a 2-inch asphalt patch over the trench lines where the sewer was replaced and where the taps were made. So at the end of the day, we'd have $56,000 sitting in an escrow account for future use, and a street very similar to what we have out there right now.
Thank you very much.
I got a couple of questions. Did I understand you correctly to say that you said that the amount of money, and if I understand this right, what he's doing is basically starting at 3040, going back to the end of his property?
Yes,
with this.
yes.
That's what he's proposing to do.
Correct.
Start at 3040, go all the way to the end of the northern end of his property,
Yes,
and he is going to pave basically what would be a 2-lane road.
yes,
And if I understood you right, you're saying the cost of doing that is about the same as what the GDO would require, which is about $56,000, because he'd only be paving a 1-lane road. Well, it'd still be 2-lane, but it would only be that short piece there that his property line is on.
correct,
And so it's about the same amount of money.
correct. It's
that
within a few $1,000s. I mean, it's very close.
Okay, my other question is, how far is it from where his property stops, where that little green piece stops, around to Euchre Lane? I mean, not Euchre, I'm sorry, this is Rockbrook Lane.
Oh, goodness. I would say that it's probably a good half mile to maybe 3/4 of a mile around to the corner, all the way over to Rockbrook.
Can you give me and I'm sorry to put you in a spot
Well-
like this, but I'm sitting here thinking, could you just give me just a wild guess, ballpark guess, as to what it might cost us to put in a similar road to this? I know it's substandard, but similar road to this, all the way over to, pick up where he's leaving off, go around to Rockbrook with it? Or would that not be something we even want to entertain, because that would make too much traffic go through there? That road's in bad shape. and so
Yeah,
I'm looking at it.
it's in bad shape.
And I'm looking at a way to
Right now,
possibly
we're
get the
looking
whole
at
road
roughly $50,000 to $56,000 worth of improvements, and we've got 600 feet of road that they're rebuilding. So then you take another, if you want to apply that $50,000 to a 600-foot section of road, and then the length from this point up around the corner over to Rockbrook is going to be in the neighborhood of maybe 3,000 feet plus or minus, so.
4 to 5 times that amount.
Yeah, 4 or 5 times.
Okay.
200 to $250,000, something like that. Say 300.
What does $250,000 represent?
To continue paving with the 4-inch asphalt for that 22-foot width all the way around the corner to Rockbrook.
See, this street,
Would cost the city that much.
This street
if you were to
from,
continue that.
this street basically from the green area he's got, which is just north of 3040. Thank you, you're so good. Is in pretty much that condition you showed us, that whole street is, isn't it pretty much from 3040 all the way over to Rockbrook?
Yes, it's,
About the same.
the street is in the same condition for the most part, all the way from one end, from one end all the way down to the other at Rockbrook.
Okay, then I guess my only other question I got is the staff is, would it be in the city's best interest to look at going ahead and possibly doing the rest of that entire street as that substandard condition? I mean, that's 10 times better than what it is right now. But I know it'd be substandard. It's substandard because it'd be a 2-lane instead of a 4-lane, but it's less than a 2-lane now, actually. It's about a 1.5 lane right now. And at least then it would get a 2-lane road there. And there are several residences on there, not a lot, but there's a few residences on there. And it would give them the entire length of the street getting it done. What I'm hearing maybe cost us another 250.
Maybe more. I think it'd be something you'd probably have to look at, because I think you'll start getting calls from the folks that, there's a few folks I know of, one in particular that lives up the road, and I suspect he might be on the phone asking you why you stopped. He wouldn't realize that it was a developer-driven situation. He'd wonder why you stopped at, 700 feet up the road and didn't continue it around. So my guess is that it'll probably drive the need to prioritize that section of road at a higher level on our asphalt program.
But I guess my question is it worth our while to go ahead, because it kind of tails on what Councilman Grennan was saying, worth our while to go ahead and pave it like this under a substandard condition, pretty much knowing the traffic that's on there is not going to be truck traffic, I don't think, once this is finished. Once this is finished, I don't think you're going to have much, when I say truck, I'm talking heavy truck traffic. It's going to be mostly residential vehicles on there. Would it be in the city's best interest to go ahead and do that as a substandard
Well, given
fix?
the fact that you don't have any plans to do anything other than that, that would be the bare minimum that we would be doing at any point in the near future. So it's simply be moving it up on a list that it's probably already on.
You said it's already on our list?
I'm sure there's on somebody's list down there in Public Services in terms of an asphalt overlay of some kind.
And there will be something, just another thing to think about. That would make it a perfect cut-through also for more traffic to be on the
Yeah,
street.
I was
Yeah, the
thinking
more-
about that.
And that would be the negative side of it.
That, I was thinking about that also. Okay. We've thrown enough curveballs. Now if you go to option B,
Okay.
variance B.
Okay, the second variance is with regard to tree mitigation, and it's related to the site plan. As mentioned earlier, the property is going to be divided into 7 lots, each lot with a small individual office building and some parking associated with that building. I've highlighted in yellow for you on this tree exhibit what's going to be built in the first phase of the development, which includes the office building. I believe it's on Lot 3, the access lane that'll access all 7 lots, a small area of pavement down here in the southern section, and then some paving around the building that they propose to build first. They're also going to install all the utilities and the drainage, including a detention pond, in the first phase. That leaves the other 6 lots, the buildings for the other 6 lots, and the majority of the remainder of the parking to be built in future phases with no particular time frame. Also shown on the same drawing, you'll see some of the trees that are shown on the drawing that are darker than the others. Those are the protected trees that are on our protected tree list that would have to be mitigated and that are being proposed to be removed. As you can see, they're not developing the entire site at one time. they're going to put in the infrastructure for all 7 lots, but just build 1 building. And so the developer has asked that rather than pay for all the trees up front, which would be a total of $30,000, well, actually $30,000 minus what they're going to install with the first building, which comes up to roughly $24,000, to pay that $24,000 and split that up over the remaining lots, so that each lot will have roughly $3,000 and some dollars each associated with it, so that at the end of the day we end up with the $24,000 once all 7 lots have buildings on them. Historically, this is not the type of variance that the staff has ever recommended. In fact, we really don't have any precedence for it at all. Staff is recommending denial of this particular variance simply because the development itself, other than the first building, is speculative, so we don't know what the time frame is going to be with regard to when those lots will fill up. However, all the trees will be gone up front when they do the mass grading on the entire 3 acres. So we'll have a period of time when the property is basically cleared and when those trees are actually mitigated. And there's no way to tell when that mitigation will finally be complete, or if it ever will be complete, because there's never a guarantee that the lots are going to develop the way the developer thinks they're going to be. I know that the engineer is here this evening as well, Steve Homeyer, and I'm sure he can answer questions as well with regard to the variance requests or the plat, if you've got them. I'll be glad to answer any other questions that you may have.
Does council got any more questions of staff?
No, sir.
Thank you very much, David. Appreciate that. You'll be here if we need you for something else. I do have a card filled out by Steve Homeyer. Mr. Homeyer, if you come forward. There you are. Thank you, David. If you would just give your name and record for that. Address for the record, please. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Steve Homeyer. I'm with Homeyer Engineering. My office is at 206 Elm Street here in Louisville. When we started this project back in the first part of this year, we looked at what does this site entail. We've got about 10 to 12 feet of fall across this particular property from Euchre Lane to the back portion of the property where we're going to be installing the detention pond. In order to do that and get the property developed and bench each lot in order to accomplish the development of each individual building requires us to bring in quite a bit of fill, in addition to being able to bring our site up high enough to accomplish gravity sewer. So that's one of the main reasons why the trees themselves are being removed. It's just due to the fact of the topography that's out there, and any type of development that would occur would require and necessitate some type of removal. The other option that other item that we had was the street there on Euchre Lane. As the photos that David presented indicate, the road is not in very good condition as it currently sits. As David indicated, we have the option of putting up $56,000 into an escrow account, which in our opinion doesn't serve really any good purpose. The $56,000 would basically sit there until sometime that the city would come in and build the entire street, because those monies could not be used for maintenance purposes. So that we felt that that wasn't a good option. The second option would be to build half a street for just the limits of our property. In order to accomplish that, we would have to lower the street in order to make the grades work and the drainage work for future expansion. And if we did that, then it wouldn't tie into anything that's out there. Or we would have to build it at current grade, which then would require it to be torn out in the future. So the building of the half a street wasn't really a viable option either. So what we looked at, and we wanted to try to be creative and utilize the $56,000 in the best way that we possibly could, and we felt that in doing so, we could build the street from 3040 to our northern limits of our property, which would be a win-win situation for our development as well as the city, because the city would get approximately 620 feet of new roadway, be it not to your typical concrete standards, but it would be to your typical standards for your concrete rehab conditions around the city. So we felt that that would be a viable alternative, and that's what we're presenting tonight is variance A. When we get into the option of the trees, we looked at how can we go about making this a viable project for the development itself. As the property sits today, it's valued at about $300,000, give or take, on the tax rolls. We were looking at how much improvements would occur over the next few years as this property developed, and the increase would occur in the range of $2.5 million to $3 million based on the improvements that we would be installing in the initial phase, as well as each individual building that would be built out over a period of years. Just overall, when you start looking at a development of this nature, $56,000 for the street, $30,000 for this, $20,000 for this, the costs just continually go up. And in this current economic condition that we're experiencing, we were looking at ways that we could possibly reduce our front-end costs to allow for the development of the property over time. As in both of these cases, the developer is not looking to waive his requirements. He's just looking to be creative in a way that can make the project viable for him and then get a property on the ground that would be an increase to the city's tax rolls. So that is the reason we were looking at doing the $3,400 and approximately $30 per lot at the time of building permit. We heard David's concerns and the city's concerns with regards to not knowing exactly how long a development of this nature may take. You know, it could be 2 years, it could be 10 years. What we would like to propose, in addition to the variance that we've requested, is to put a 5-year timetable on that. We would pay the $3,400 and some change with each individual building permit, and then at the end of the 5 years, we would pay the remaining balance for any lots that hadn't been developed. So the city would in turn receive the $24,000 in any event. So what we're looking at is just trying to achieve something that would allow the developer to reduce some of his front-end cost, but yet still meet the intent of the ordinance. And so with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Anybody have any questions?
So basically, there's a change in the variance you're requesting. You're adding in the 5-year time limit.
Yes, sir.
It's not there currently.
It's currently not in the variance that we requested as written, but we would propose that to address city staff's concerns.
Well, that's great. When you were making your proposal, I was thinking the same thing. How would you feel about such a thing as a time limit?
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Holmeyer.
Thank you.
Anything else we'll ask you. Okay. Councilman Grena?
First question to Mr. King. Before I make this recommendation that the city staff is recommending, is there any possibility that staff would entertain that what he just said about the 5-year limit, or is that just playing to the same reason?
Well, we'll go whatever direction you guys want to go in. If
Okay.
you want
I
to,
just
if
really
you want
haven't
to
thought of
adopt,
it long enough, but I've been looking at what you've been proposing.
yeah,
Um,
our
the-
concern is always precedent and how it's applied in the future. If you do that here, then someday there'll be something bigger, and they may have some similar request, and so you have to try to be as
Consistent.
fair and consistent as possible.
Fair and consistent, I understand, I agree with that. The other thing is that, what is the possibility of denying using that money and having the city do the whole street?
I'm sorry, denying.
Yeah, the street, instead of them building the lesser quality
Collecting
street,
the escrow.
instead of giving escrow, that we move that project up on our list, get that whole street done. Public, private thing, they're trying to do something, and the public can come in and we can get that whole street done so that everybody's happy, and we're not with a substandard street that we're gonna have to
Okay.
keep repairing in about 5-10 years.
That's what I was going to ask you. Are you referring to a complete reconstruction according, in
the
accordance with
concrete
current
standards,
standards,
yes.
modern standards?
Is that a possibility, or is this better for you right now?
Well, it's, as many things, it's only money. And we would have to do the cost estimates on that. I don't have any idea off the top of my head what that would cost to do
Okay.
the entire road. And you just simply have to program the funds for that. So
Okay,
that would just be I guess, an expanded version of what Mayor Euchert was talking about, expanding to 2-lane asphalt section all the way to Rockbrook. So
well, then
probably
it looks-
substantially more money, but again, it's just a matter of programming it.
I hear you, so I guess I'm gonna go ahead and,
Could we table this and get
Yeah.
more specific information from city staff of where this is in the
I-
cycle?
I agree with
Is
Councilman
that going to
Gilmore.
create an issue for the developer if we tabled this?
Mr. Holmeyer, this is kind of a question to you. I guess they're asking, would this create a hardship on you as the applicant to
Didn't mean to jump in there.
no, it's good.
table this
Question.
to, we could have staff look at some more options as far as, I think you're referring to the street?
Yes.
Is that correct? To the street issue?
Well, we,
Either a total rebuild or doing the at the level that they proposed here for their section.
well, we can
And I
approve
will
this.
say this, that Councilman Durham brought up a very good point. I think when you start doing that, you're going to want to take, you're going to want to inform the citizens, because that is there are very few citizens that do live on that road, but now that might make their street much more a thoroughfare street than what they're accustomed to, and they kind of like it back there, so I don't know if that's going to be they may say, no, don't do this, leave it the way it is.
Well,
like
and
it
we
back
may
there.
look at the list and say, we like the way the staff has already set it out, and accelerating this
Right.
does hurts other parts.
Well, then also,
But-
I'm sorry, the other option is that we go through with this, and if the developer and the city want to get together and make some changes, that can always be done also.
Yeah, I'm not saying you couldn't table it, I'm saying if you table it, I think you'd want to consult some with the residents there also. That's what-
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, Mayor.
Oh, well,
Mr. Holmeyer, did y'all have a thought on that, or
Next meeting.
Next meeting.
next
2
meeting?
weeks.
Yes, sir. Because I know you've got problems with financing, funding, and everything.
It'd be 3 weeks, wouldn't it? Is it 3 weeks?
3 weeks, it'll be 3 weeks.
November, first meeting in November, whenever that is, Steve.
It's actually 3 weeks
Fifth,
from now.
fourth, whatever it is.
It's the next meeting, which is 3 weeks from now.
All right, then, so it looks like
I'll
we have.
second the motion if there hadn't been.
Okay, if someone is
No,
entertaining.
it's going to go ahead and make the motion to table it to our next meeting, seeing it sounds like we have that consensus.
I second it.
Have a motion to table to the next meeting by Councilman Moreno, second by Councilman Vaughn. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much, and appreciate you working with us, and we'll have staff, as you know, be getting in touch with you, and we'll work together, okay?
That was for just A, or are we going to do B
For the whole
separately?
item, let's do the whole
For both
item
of them?
together.
Okay,
And Mayor, if we could think about it before we meet the next time on this, that we separate these, the two variances?
Correct.
Because I don't know if we're going to have a consensus of who
I agree.
wants both of them, or wants one, or doesn't want both.
Okay, not a problem. We'll do that
Thank
when
you.
we bring it back, bring the
Just
whole
a-
item back.
Something to talk about.
Okay. Next item is item 4, and I will be abstaining on this, so I'm going to turn this over to Deputy Mayor Pro Tem, Councilman Durham.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 4 is consideration of an economic development agreement by and between the City of Louisville and Vista 121 Business Center LP, and authorization for the city manager to execute the contract. Vista 121 Business Center LP entered into an agreement with the city in 2007 to build a 240,000 square foot office building. The building was completed in 2008, but was not occupied. The entire building now is now leased by J.P. Morgan Chase for a new business center, and additional parking is needed for the 1,200 to 2,000 new employees. This agreement provides for an incentive to the developer for 75% reduction of tree mitigation fees to construct the new parking lot for occupancy of this facility. The recommendation is that the City Council approve the economic development agreement and authorize the city manager to execute the contract. Councilman Marino.
Let's discuss this for a second here, because
Let me add something here. I didn't have any cards on this. Did anybody want to speak on this? Okay.
And
Go ahead,
the
Councilman.
proponents are not here. I don't know that they anticipated the need to be here, but
Okay.
I'm sure Mark Myers would probably want to be here depending on any concerns expressed.
Okay.
sorry.
The developers are not here. I don't think they anticipated a need to be here, but I suspect that if there were concerns with council approving this item, that they'd probably want to be here.
Okay. Councilman Green?
This is much like variance B in the previous item that we were just looking at which the city council had denied on variance. And for the people who are watching on there, basically what it amounts to, instead of them paying us $36,000 for this tree mitigation, they're only going to pay us $9,000. So you're looking at 75% of that 36 being waived away. If we're going to not do it for one company, we shouldn't do it for another. Whether it be small or large, it really doesn't matter. Chase is going to come here, and I'm glad they're here. I'm glad they've chosen Louisville. Louisville's a great place to be. Just our location, our low taxes and everything, they're already saving money by coming here to Louisville. I really think that what I'm going to do is go ahead and recommend that we deny this variance for the 75% reduction of tree mitigation fees.
I'd like to speak to that.
Go ahead.
Okay. Councilman,
This
Gilmore?
was, just so folks know, that this wasn't just brought up at the last minute. These types of economic development discussions are brought up years in advance. In fact, this agreement happened in 2007, so many of us weren't even in the room when this was discussed, and probably hung out there as an incentive for them to build that particular property. If we do go ahead and pull back from what a previous council had put out, that's fine, that's our prerogative. However, it does set a different precedent in that the city council may want to go ahead and change what's set down with those developers for these large-scale types of projects. And you're going to create an environment where developers are not going to necessarily believe what the city has told them in negotiations previously. At least that's my understanding.
We didn't already approve this.
No, back in 2007.
We didn't approve it.
That was a
then either.
different
Yeah,
agreement.
but it was part of the discussion.
It wasn't approved.
The discussion that we've had previously was that in the 2007 agreement is a previous agreement that dealt with the building itself. When they began to chase to occupy that building, the issue was very rapidly the amount of parking that the existing building had was inadequate for the number of employees that Chase was putting into the facility. And so that's when we then discussed it with council in executive session with respect to a reduction of the tree mitigation fees. We also at the time thought that there was a distinct possibility that the developers would want to renegotiate the previous 2007 agreement, and in addition, that Chase itself might come in with some kind of request for incentives, neither of which we've experienced. So from staff's perspective, the winning of 1,200 to 2,000 new jobs at the extremely minimal cost of $27,000 in tree mitigation fees is a total win for the city. And that's why we recommended approval. And frankly, again, that was communicated to the developers after executive session discussions, and the credibility of council is somewhat at stake here.
So my apologies for misstating that it was an agreement in 2007, but there have been conversations, and not all of us who are here were in those conversations, and we've all dealt with economic development, and you put some things out on the table, and you have that negotiation that happens. Whether council decides to follow through on that is always up for debate, always will be.
And the developers are big boys, and they understand that.
Yeah.
But again, that's the concern that staff would have.
So for me, I would be voting to approve this because it would be a good stewardship, in my opinion, and it's bringing high-paying jobs to the area for a very low dollar value. And I think to treat a large company and to say we're giving favors to a big company is not the way you drive those.
They're coming anyway.
Councilman
For this
Vaughn?
one.
Basically, I already stated my concerns in the workshop. And for those that might not have heard that, basically my issue is after having talked with city staff, I do not feel comfortable with how this 75% came about. To me, why not ask for 50 and split it with the city, or 100 and do away with it all? And as far as Chase coming to town, I too am glad that they are going to be in Louisville. I do not think from the standpoint of Chase or the developer that $25,000 is a deal killer. I think they are still going to be in town. And as far as any other considerations of this $25,000, I just really don't understand where its origins are. And so therefore, I will be voting against this because I see a benefit to the developer, but other than goodwill, which I assume, I wasn't here, was presented to the developer when the building was being built. Concessions were made and grants and tax abatements and whatever else he got. So from my standpoint, I cannot see voting in favor of this $25,000 just because it's asked for. I don't think that we would be stewarding the taxpayers' dollars.
Okay. Comments from staff on that?
Yeah, Councilman Vaughn, again, you weren't there when this was originally discussed in executive session, so I can certainly understand the questions about where the number came from, and I perhaps did not answer that question adequately, but the 75% was basically the number that was negotiated. It was the number that the council threw back at the developer as a possible incentive to bring Chase on board, in addition to other incentives that we considered at the time that are not actually coming into play here. So whether it was 75% or 50% or 83% was just a number that the council came up with as something that they were comfortable in terms of the entire package. And so that's where that number came from. There's no particular magic to it other than, again, it was part of what the offer was for the developer to continue their negotiations with Chase. So with that clarification.
So can I ask the city manager just one question?
Go ahead, Councilman.
So this $25,000, in your opinion, is this a deal killer for the developer in Chase?
Well, the deal's progressed to the point where the construction of the parking lot's already underway, so it's not what I would call a deal killer. They've probably already signed their lease with Chase, and Chase is getting ready to move in, so no, it's more of a council said they would be willing to consider X, and now they're doing something other than X.
Well,
Which is, again, a risk that the developers always run. They know that there's nothing done until it gets done here. But again, that kind of word tends to move quickly.
Just one comment on that. I'm in agreement with Councilman Vaughn, but if you're going to make that deal back in 2007, you should have given the variance.
No, not 2007.
No,
This was done very recently.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying the thing came up that all this stuff was discussed back in 2007 or whatever.
Yeah, that's not.
And I apologize, I took that back off the table.
All right, sorry.
Yeah, what's happened here is we had a council member die, and we have one extra seat, and one has to abstain because of conflict.
And I think all the discussions happened, I think, even prior to two council members
It came
being on the council.
Yes.
I got
So
here in
the only
July.
people that are really on the council now are the two of you guys that would have had anything to.
Yeah, and I've always
to do
been
with that.
kind of on abatements and variances.
So again, there's never a deal until there's a deal, but again, our concern at staff level is that
There is a motion on it.
certainly we communicated to them that we thought that the council was supportive.
Yeah. And if anybody doesn't know, I'm against the tree mitigation policy we have anyway. So whether there were trees or no trees, I don't think we should be doing that because you're costing people who have trees more money than the people that don't have the trees, which is always a weird deal.
What, Council, what I'd recommend you do if you're at an impasse on this, if there's anything close to what looks like a 2-2 vote with no way to break the tie, would be to table the item until you can ask the developers to come in and talk to you about it. I think they would appreciate the opportunity to be heard, if nothing else.
See how this vote goes.
Has there been a motion made?
Yes? Was a motion to deny, just waiting for a
There's been a motion
second.
to deny. Is there a second?
Mr.
Has there
Vaughn?
been a motion?
Can I ask council, is a motion made?
No, it was worded as a recommendation.
Move to table.
We have a motion to table.
Second.
We have a motion to table and a second. Any discussion?
I don't want to table it.
Okay. All those in favor of tabling signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Doesn't matter.
Motion passes with one abstention.
Well, no, I just voted no.
No,
Sorry.
you said you didn't
I
want to
said it
vote.
didn't matter. I said it didn't matter, but no. Since there's 3 for it, it's fine.
I'm sorry.
I just figure why abstain it?
What
Excuse
was
me.
the vote again?
3-1.
Mr. Durham?
I said it was 3-0 and one abstention, but whatever y'all want to
They
count
don't
it
even know
as.
the vote down here.
Doesn't matter, it's 3 past.
It
3.
does
Well,
matter.
no, you need to go on the record.
It matters.
I said no.
Okay.
I don't think we should table it. I think we should vote on it.
3-1.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Get it over with.
Okay. Is there any action we need to take on that, council?
It was a
Nope.
motion to table, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
We just need
No other action?
a date certain.
Next meeting is what I anticipated.
You meant the next meeting?
Next meeting?
Meeting's fine.
It was, the intent was for the next meeting. Okay. Item number 5.
Should we get the mayor back in here?
Yes, he's coming, I hope. I've done my
Go get
reading
him.
for the day. Mayor, it's yours.
Thank you, sir. Okay, item 5 is consideration of an ordinance approving the 2011 annual assessment service plan updates for Louisville Castle Hills Public Improvement District Number 3. The city council created Louisville Castle Hills Public Improvement District Number 3 in 2001. A supplemental assessment service plan was adopted for the PID Number 3 on April 16, 2001. Chapter 372, the Texas Local Government Code requires that an assessment service plan be updated annually. The plan defines the annual indebtedness and the projected cost of the improvements to be provided by a PID and the number of assessing the property in the PID for the cost of the improvements. Recommendation is that by staff as council approve the ordinance. I do have a card here filled out for is here to answer any question. Mr. Ross Martin is here to answer any questions for items 5 through 9, actually. So, Councilman Durham?
Mayor, if no one has anything else, I move to approve.
Second?
Have a motion to approve by Councilman Durham, second. Councilor Green, is there any discussion? Councilor?
This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, updating the assessment service plan and assessment roll for Louisville, Castle Hills Public Improvement District Number 3, providing a repealer, providing for severability, providing an effective date, and declaring an emergency.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 6 is consideration of an amended ordinance authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $3 million City of Louisville tax combination contract revenue and special assessment refunding and utility system bonds, Series 2011, Louisville Castle Hills Public Improvement District Number 3 project, the Series 2011 utility rolls in accordance with the terms of the first supplemental trust agreement authorizing the defeasance and refunding of $440,000 City of Louisville, Texas combination contract revenue and special assessment refunding and capital improvement bonds, Series 2004, Louisville Castle Hills Public Improvement District Number 3, the Series 2004 bonds, or the refunded bonds, approving and authorizing the execution of the first supplemental trust agreement, authorizing a final offering statement pertaining to the issuance of the Series 2011 utility bonds, delegating authority to authorized officials to finalize certain sale terms relating to the Series 2011 utility bonds, finalize an escrow agreement, and finalize a bond purchase agreement, providing an effective date and containing other matters related to the Series 2011 utility bonds. Councilman Vaughn, excuse me, just a minute. Denton County Freshwater Supply District Number 1E has requested the city to authorize and approve the issuance of up to $3 million for said bonds above for the purpose of acquiring certain water, sewer, and drainage facilities, to fund a debt service reserve fund for the bonds, and to pay certain costs incurred in connection with the issuance bonds. Staff's recommendation is City Council is to consider the ordinance above. Councilman Vaughn?
Mayor, I move to approve the amended ordinance as stated above.
Second.
Have a motion to approve by Councilman Vaughn and a second by Councilman Green. Any discussion? Counselor?
This is an ordinance authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $3 million City of Louisville, Texas combination contract revenue and special assessment refunding and utility system bonds, Series 2011, Louisville Castle Hills Public Improvement District Number 3 project, in accordance with the terms of the first supplemental trust agreement, authorizing the defeasance and refunding of $440,000 of City of Louisville, Texas combination contract revenue and special assessment refunding and capital improvement bond, Series 2004, Louisville Castle Hills Public Improvement District Number 3 project, approving and authorizing the execution of the first supplemental trust agreement, authorizing a final offering statement pertaining to the issuance of the Series 2011 utility bonds, delegating authority to authorize officials to finalize certain sales terms relating to the Series 2011 utility bonds, finalize an escrow agreement, and finalize a bond purchase agreement, providing an effective date and containing other matters related to the Series 2011 utility bonds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 7 is consideration of an ordinance approving the 2011 Annual Assessment Service Plan update for the Louisville Castle Hill Public Improvement District Number 4. The City Council created Louisville Castle Hills Public Improvement District, PID Number 4 in 2007. A supplemental assessment service plan was adopted for PID Number 4 on January 7, 2008. Chapter 372 of the Texas Local Government Code requires that an assessment service plan be updated annually. The plan defines the annual indebtedness and the projected cost of the improvements to be provided by a PID and the manner of assessing the property in the PIDs for the cost of the improvements. Recommendation of staff is council approve the ordinance. I do have an additional card in besides Mr. Drew Keith on these last 3 items was also, I also had a card here in addition from Mr. Ross Martin, but also from Drew Keith is here to answer any questions on these last 3, or these next 3 items, 7, 8, and 9. Councilman Gilmore.
Move to approve as stated.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Gilmore to approve. We have a second by Councilman Grena, wasn't it? By Councilman Grena. Any discussion? Councilor?
This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, updating the assessment service plan and assessment roll for Louisville, Castle Hills Public Improvement District Number 4, providing a repealer, providing for severability, providing an effective date, and declaring an emergency.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 8 is consideration of amended ordinance authorizing the issuance of not to exceed of $5,700,000 a City of Louisville, Texas combination contract revenue and special assessment road system bonds, Series 2011 Louisville Castle Hills Public Improvement District Number 4 project, the Series 2011 road bonds in accordance with the terms of that certain first supplemental trust agreement, approving and authorizing the execution of first supplemental trust agreement, authorizing a final offering statement pertaining to the issuance of the Series 2011 road bonds, delegating authority to authorize officials to finalize certain sale terms relating to the Series 2011 road bonds and finalize a bond purchase agreement, providing an effective date and containing other matters related to the Series 2011 road bonds. Denton County Freshwater District Number 1F has requested the City of Louisville to authorize and approve the issuance of up to $5,700,000 of said bonds above for the purpose of acquiring street and roadway improvements to fund a debt service reserve fund for the bonds and to pay certain costs incurred in connection with the issuance of the bond. Recommendation is that the council consider the ordinances as set forth in the above caption. Councilman Grena?
Move to approve as you read in the caption.
Second.
Have a motion to approve by Councilman Grena, second by Councilman Gilmore. Any discussions? Counselor?
This is an ordinance authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $5,700,000 City of Louisville, Texas, combination contract and revenue and special assessment road system bonds, Series 2011 Louisville Castle Hills Public Improvement District Project Number 4 project, in accordance with the terms of that certain first supplemental trust agreement, approving and authorizing the execution of the first supplemental trust agreement, authorizing a final offering statement pertaining to the issuance of the Series 2011 road bonds, delegating authority to authorize officials to finalize certain sale terms relating to the Series 2011 road bonds, and finalize a bond purchase agreement, providing an effective date and containing other matters related to the Series 2011 road bonds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 9 is consideration of an amended ordinance authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $3 million City of Louisville, Texas combination contract revenue and special assessment utility system bonds, Series 2011, Louisville Castle Hills Public District Number 4 project, the Series 2011 utility bonds, in accordance with the terms of that certain second supplemental trust agreement, approving and authorizing the execution of the second supplemental trust agreement, authorizing a final offering statement pertaining to the issuance of the Series 2011 utility bonds, delegating authority to the authorized officials to finalize certain sale terms relating to the Series 2011 utility bonds, and finalize a broad purchase agreement providing an effective date and containing other matters related to the Series 2011 utility bonds. Denton County Freshwater Supply District Number 1F has requested the City of Louisville to authorize and approve the issuance of up to $3 million of said bonds for the purpose of acquiring certain water, sewer, and drainage facilities to fund a debt service reserve fund for the bonds and to pay certain costs incurred in connection with the issuance of the bonds. Recommend staff as council consider the ordinance as set forth in the above caption. Councilman Durham?
No questions. I move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion to approve by Councilman Durham, a second by Councilman Grena. Any discussions? Councilor?
This is an ordinance authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $3 million City of Louisville, Texas combination contract revenue and special assessment utility system bonds, Series 2011 Louisville Castle Hills Public Improvement District Number 4 project, in accordance with the terms of that certain second supplemental trust agreement, approving and authorizing the execution of the second supplemental trust agreement, authorizing a final offering statement pertaining to the issuance of the Series 2011 utility bonds, delegating authority to authorize officials to finalize certain sale terms relating to the Series 2011 utility bonds and finalize a bond purchase agreement, providing an effective date and containing other matters related to the Series 2011 utility bonds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 10 is consideration of an ordinance amending Chapter 7, Article 11, Sexually Oriented Businesses, Section 7-371 and Section 7-399, and Chapter 17, Section 17-31, Location Regulations for Sexually Oriented Businesses of the Louisville City Code by amending certain definitions and adding a conviction of human trafficking as cause for denial of a sexually oriented business permit. Pursuant to review of the city's sexually oriented business ordinance, staff recommends certain changes. Changes are: A, amend the definition of nudity or state of nudity to include the lower portion of a breast. B, amend the definition of substantial enlargement to delete a reference to a specific date. And C, amend the criteria for the denial of an SOB permit to include a conviction of trafficking of persons, which was added to the Penal Code in September 1, 2011. Recommendation of council is, the recommendation of staff is that council amend the ordinance as set forth in the above caption. Councilman Vaughn?
Mayor, I'd like to ask that the city manager give us a little explanation as to what we're doing here. I mean, on this ordinance.
Okay.
Councilman, the primary impact is to amend the definition within the SOB ordinance for what constitutes nudity or state of nudity. We had some language in other sections of the ordinance that referred to other terminology that prohibited the exhibition of the lower part of a breast unless a business had a SOB permit. And so to be consistent with the various applications within that ordinance, we felt like the same definition needed to be used for both of those terms, either nudity, state of nudity, or the other term that was utilized. So in effect, what will happen is that any businesses, regardless whether restaurants or some other type of business that I can't even come up with an example of right now, but whatever the business might be, if the employees or their contractors are wearing something like pasties or displaying the under part of their breasts, then they would need to obtain a sexually oriented business permit and go through that process, and it would be subject to the requirements of the SOB ordinance.
Thank you.
And then there's a couple of other minor cleanup items, but that's the gist of it.
Thank you very much for that explanation. Mayor, I'd like to make a recommendation that we accept the ordinance as presented above.
Second.
Can you make that in the form of a motion instead of a recommendation?
I make a motion that we accept the ordinance as stated above.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Vaughn, a second by Councilman Greener. Do we have other discussion?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I'll be opposed to the A section of this, so I'll be voting against the motion that's on the floor. The B and C part of this, I'll be for, but I'm going to have to vote against the whole thing.
Okay.
The first part's on the state of dress or undress. I think we're just going down a slippery slope there. It's illegal under the current law, and we're going to make it illegal and possibly put a business out of business that's a restaurant that is working as a restaurant and that are not violating any laws now, and we're going to classify them as a sexually oriented business. Now, that's completely separate from the fact whether you like this or don't like it, in my opinion. But I will be voting against this, but I am for B and C on this. Thank you, Mayor.
What is A?
Would let me ask
A
you.
is the section that has to do with the definition of nudity.
Let me ask this, Councilman Vaughn. I know we have a motion and a second. Would you and Councilman Greener consider amending your motions and voting on the item, on the motion with item A and then on item B and C separately?
I'm okay with that.
Would you be okay with that, sir? Still, you still have the same motion, but you'd be making two different motions, basically. One, to approve item A as printed, and then second would be to approve item B and C as printed.
So
Is that all right?
he's amending his motion?
I'm asking if he's willing to do that.
And-
Yes, sir.
Okay. So does he need to restate that, or is that clear enough?
Is that clear enough? Clear enough.
Okay, so we will take item A, his motion of item A, to approve item A first of the ordinance.
Mayor, I make a,
When you say item A, you mean the definition, the amended definition to nudity or state of nudity?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's what you're asking for, Councilman Vaughn?
yes, sir.
Okay. We have a motion by Councilman Vaughn.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve item A as to the definition of nudity as stated in the ordinance.
Second.
Okay.
Well, just one additional piece of information, depending on how the vote turns out, but any 3 vote to 1 vote or something like that would vacate the emergency clause requiring 2 more readings, so.
It would do that no matter if it was all under one item or?
No, not if it was 4-0, but.
Right.
Mayor?
But the whole ordinance would be vacated. So you'd read the entire ordinance regardless of the fact that two parts of it were approved 4-0, correct?
So, yeah, that-
Mayor?
you're the same.
Yes.
Is that
I've already
correct, Liz?
stated,
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, hold on just a second. Yes, sir.
I've already stated what my comment was of being against A. With the information that we just had because of one less member, I will go ahead and vote for it.
Well, it would still be a 3-1.
No, he said he'll vote.
Oh, he's going to vote for
I
it.
would vote for it because I already expressed my disagreement with it.
Okay.
I learned that from Michael
Now we're
Metzger a
back
long
to
time
the-
ago.
so he's going to amend the motion again to go to the original motion?
Is that what you'd like to do now?
What do you want me to do?
We're doing it
I
all.
think it'd work real good if you
Not
went
your-
with your
it's all
intentional
Rudy's fault.
motion,
I would be glad to do that, Mayor.
your original motion.
I'd
You
like-
would so state that.
I'd like to restate my original motion that we accept the ordinance as presented in the caption above.
Thank you, Councilman. I appreciate your
And
patience with us.
I'll
here.
restate my second on that, too.
We have a motion by Councilman Vaughn to approve as presented in the caption above, and we have a second by Councilman Guarina. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Oh, Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry, Council, you want to read it? I'm sorry, beg your
This is
pardon.
an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, amending Chapter 7, Article 11, sexually oriented businesses, Section 7-371 and 7-399, and Chapter 17, Section 17-31, location regulations for sexually oriented businesses of the Louisville City Code by amending the definitions of nudity and substantial enlargement, adding a conviction for human trafficking as a cause for denial of a sexually oriented business permit, providing a penalty, providing for severability, providing a repealer, providing an effective date, and declaring an emergency.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. I appreciate your patience with me there, Council.
No problem. No problem at
Just
all.
did a little bit.
Okay, we're down to reports. Nika, anything? Bob? Anything? Chief, anything? Got a banquet coming up next week, I believe?
This Saturday.
Actually, Mayor, our banquet is this Saturday.
This Saturday,
It's our annual awards banquet, and as always, we'd love to have you and any of the city councilmen and their significant others attend. It will be at 6 o'clock at First Baptist Church, located at Valley Ridge and Old Orchard. And again, we'd love to have anybody who would like to be there to attend and join us. We'll always feed you well, so come join us if you can.
You do a great job at that.
Chief, I haven't RSVP'd. Am I too late to get my name on the list?
We will love to have you if you can come.
Thank you. Put me down.
Ms. Davis, how are you tonight? We're certainly glad to have you with us here tonight, ma'am.
Thank you.
Do you have anything to report?
No, sir.
Chief Kerbo?
No, sir.
See, I didn't get you mixed up this time because she wasn't sitting there. I know, Davis, it's different. Carol? We're getting a little bit of rain, but it's just not enough, is it?
Well, it just made up the little bit of difference that we lost the week before, so we're still 7 feet down.
Clouds are coming. They're right above us now.
Thank you.
Perhaps it's coming.
Brenda? Anything? Mr. Ferris? Mr. Backus? Councilman Durham?
Mayor, Councilman Vaughn and myself attended the Texas Municipal League conference last week, and I wanted to report to y'all that I got most favorable comments from presentations that were given by Julie Heinze, Melinda Goller, and then another presentation that was given by James Conkey. One, they knew who I was, and two city managers did not know who I was. I was just a person in the audience. And they started talking about the previous presentations that they were at, and talked about how good they were and how informative they were, and that they would be calling some of the folks or the city manager to ask them to come to their cities and present it there. So just a little positive feedback from the convention.
That's great. Councilman Green?
Before our next meeting, I think Halloween will be here, so do watch out for the kids, and I think the time change will also be in effect before then. And to Chief Tittle, I think you got my email. I will be there in spirit to the banquet, and really appreciate all the things you guys do.
Councilman Gilmore?
Mr. Monahan, can I put you on the spot for the spectacular trails? since we're not going to have a council meeting between now and then?
Thank you. Saturday, on the 29th, we will have our annual Halloween event, Spectacular Trails, out at the Toyota of Louisville Railroad Park. This is an event that grows every year. We started it over at Memorial Park on the trails, and it continues to grow. And it's a great event for the young ones to come out to have a Halloween activity. We have hay rides, we have a haunted house, we have different community groups that provide candy for them, and it's a good event. We have a costume contest out there as well. It'll be at the baseball field area out at the Toyota of Louisville Railroad Park, and I believe it starts at 5 on the 29th.
It's $1 a head unless you're under 3.
That's correct. And you can pre-purchase your tickets so you don't have to wait in line by going by one of the recreation centers in advance.
Thank you, sir. One other thing, November 8th is coming, and we do have another council meeting between now and then, but that is, we're going to be placing a sales tax election on that ballot. I'd recommend everybody read up on it. It's an 1/8 of a cent for crime prevention district and an 1/8 of a cent for fire prevention districts. Please talk with the police and fire department, see the plans. It's a 5-year program, and it's designed to put about $2.2 million a year into both of those departments to get them some great resources, more tools to help protect our police and fire. I'd like to make sure everybody comes out and votes.
Mr. King.
And staff is about to send out, I think, James, the informational brochure on that, strictly informational, so that the voters know what's on the ballot. I think that should be going out within the week.
Do you think we could maybe use your house for people to come by and buy tickets to the Spectacular Trail thing too? Advance tickets?
We could use all of our houses.
I was thinking yours specifically.
Yeah, I'm sure that'd be fine with Pat.
Councilman Vaughn?
Mayor, I'd just like to follow up on what the city manager and Councilman Gilmore stated. For your information, besides the revenue that Councilman Gilmore talked about raising, there are 10 constitutional amendments also going to be voted on in that November election. So you might want to familiarize yourself with those as well. That's it, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Councilor? Julie?
I'll just touch some more on the election. Early voting for that election will start next Monday, and it will be in Louisville. It will be conducted over at the Louisville Annex if anyone would like to vote over there.
Thank you.
That's the 29th, right?
The 24th. Yeah, it starts on the 24th. I think next Monday is the 24th, I believe.
Okay.
Thank you. Officer, we want to thank you again for being here tonight. We appreciate your service, sir, and all that you do. We appreciate it, sir. I also want to just touch base a little bit on what Councilman Durham said about while they attended TML. I think it's excellent when council members can take time out of their busy schedule to attend these events. One, it's a very important and learning tool for us to use to see how other cities who have almost exact, if not exact, very similar situations as we do throughout not only Texas, but throughout the country. And it's good to go and hear how other cities deal with these problems, how people deal with different types of things, good and bad, and get an educated version of that. There's always good educational programs put on these deals, and it's, once again, it's really refreshing to go to these and hear such wonderful comments from other cities about our city staff, which I incur a lot at the different functions I attend, is about how our city staff does such a wonderful job, and that is from other people, not from our city people, but from other communities around the area that know where we are. So once again, we want to say thank you for that. In accordance with Texas Government Code Subchapter D, Section 551.071, Local Issues Regarding Solid Waste Facilities, Section 551.072, Property Acquisition, and Section 551.087, Deliberation Regarding Economic Development Negotiations, will now convene into executive session.
There was no leeway, there was no leeway granted.
No, his name's Leroy, not Leroy. Right, there we go.
That'll work. Thank you very much.
All the way up. There you go, buddy, for you, because I love you like a brother.
Let's see what we got here. Yeah, it's better.
He's the new guy.
See how mine is compared to yours.
Damn near perfect.
Okay, we do have a quorum. We'll call the regular session back to order. Is there any council to be taken action? Any
Move to
action
adjourn.
to be taken, council?
No action.
Move to adjourn.
Have a motion to adjourn by Council Corina.
Second.
Second by Councilman Gilmore. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
See y'all next time. Oh, 3 weeks.
3 weeks? I don't know
Yep.
if I don't know if I can be without your company for that long.
You come to my office then and check me. See me up there.
I'll bring my